seeing a lot of commentary. People don't like the look of the character. Some people love the look of the character.
Don't like the look of the character?
Don't like the look of the character. I really like the look.
What are people saying that they don't like?
I don't want to spoil the way he looks in case
okay.
people haven't seen it, but he looks different from what you... We just saw Nosferatu, the latest movie by Robert Eggers, and we're going to talk about it. What did you think?
I really liked it. I loved Lily Rose Depp. I loved the feeling of the movie and the scenery. Like, I thought it was insanely beautiful. I love the costumes. I thought it was super spooky, and we're both fans of horror. I thought it was a little bit slow at some points, but I want to hear what you liked about it first.
Yeah, I guess I'll start with the positives. Cinematography was great. Acting was really good. Just the scenery and the set design and the costumes were really incredible. I mean, you expect that from this kind of period piece type movie.
The movie did have a very much like fairy tale quality. Like, even the world, we just said that we really liked the scenery, but the world that they built at the beginning, before anything crazy has happened, when they're just in the city, it looked fake. It almost looked like Harry Potter world.
In a good way.
In a good way. Okay. Yeah, I loved it. But it felt very not based in reality for the entire movie, if that makes sense. It had like a fairy tale quality to it. That's another thing that I liked.
And especially through the cinematography, there were shots where you could tell that a director or cinematographer were going for a very whimsical in a negative way, because it's obviously a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
They were going for a whimsical tone.
Yeah.
With
or almost like uncanny, because you said it is like in a negative way. I mean, first, Bill Skarsgård did like an insane job. Like, let's
talk about Bill Skarsgård.
Okay.
I'm seeing a lot of commentary. People don't like the look of the character. Some people love the look of the character.
Don't like the look of the character?
Don't like the look of the character. I really like the look.
What are people saying that they don't like?
I don't want to spoil the way he looks in case people haven't seen it, but he looks different from what you probably expect. And
he's very like menacing. I wouldn't say that he looks different than how I expected. I don't think I expected anything.
Well, he definitely doesn't look like Bill Skarsgård, that's for sure.
No, he looks otherworldly.
Yeah, and the voice he's doing is unrecognizable.
Oh, so. Yeah. Also, it surprised me how much he spoke in the movie. For some reason, I thought it was going to be like menacing and silent, like very spooky, and then him speaking would almost be like a surprise. But he's talking like right away, at the beginning.
And he talks a lot.
And he talks a lot. And he talks in different languages. He speaks in English a lot, which also surprised me. I just thought that, like, I don't know. I didn't expect it.
I want to talk about some of the stuff that I didn't like, which starts with the story. And obviously the story is a known story. It's based on a different movie. It's based on a different book. It's based on history. There's baggage there, but at its core, it's a pretty simple tale of a vampire. And for me, it really dragged at some points.
I also thought it dragged at some points, but one of my dislikes was kind of related to the character of Nosferatu. There's parts of the movie where he feels so menacing and scary, and they did it in a really amazing way. Like when Nicholas Holt's character...
Yeah, when Nicholas Holt's character...
When he like goes to his castle for the first time, that entire sequence is probably the best part of the whole movie.
Yeah.
First, it's like beautiful, and then also it's very scary. Like when he's in... Like, you feel how, I don't know, just like menacing and powerful the character of Nosferatu is, and he feels strong. Like you wouldn't be able to defeat him. One of the things that I didn't like is that there's other scenes with Nosferatu where I feel like they either cut it too short. There's just another scene where it's like Nosferatu is doing evil stuff, and I don't know, I felt like it could have gone further on screen. There's other scenes where you see everything on screen, and he's very scary. But there's certain parts where they could have pushed it like a little bit further, where almost in those slow parts I was talking about, if they hadn't cut the scene where they had and like let him show how evil he is instead. I don't know if that's too vague. I don't know if you know what part I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think I know what part you're talking about. And that goes back to what I also didn't like about the movie. And setting aside Bill Skarsgård's performance and the character itself, the look, which I really liked, what I didn't like was the characterization that they did for Count Orlok or Nosferatu. To your point, at the beginning of the movie when Nicholas Holt's character shows up to the castle, which we talked about, it's very scary. You don't know what this vampire is capable of doing. He is described throughout the movie as this force of nature, this evil incarnate. But in reality, besides that beginning part, he doesn't really feel inevitable or unbeatable, as he should, at least before characters figure out what to do with him. There's moments of the movie where you're supposed to feel like this character is really just this unstoppable force of evil or death. And he just feels like a man. And I get it. That's kind of the point as well. but I wish that the movie had gone to greater lengths to really show how characters that don't really know how to deal with the vampire just completely unavoidably being killed or consumed by this force. They just didn't have enough impact for me in that sense. There were a couple of scenes, like you said, I think those scenes where you're referring to, where he does have some sort of kind of presence to him that other characters see and obviously are afraid of him. But again, it just feels like a one-to-one interaction between certain characters and Orlok instead of just this force of nature that's affecting this whole town. I didn't really get enough of him being unstoppable.
Yeah, I after the first half of the movie, I wasn't as like scared of him anymore, which is crazy. And it's not that they're not showing that he's doing like super evil stuff. There was something about it where it just fell mildly flat.
It wasn't hitting.
I don't know. But yeah, overall, still really loved it. The acting was amazing by everyone. It wasn't acting that was causing it to fall flat. It was just the story.
Again, I think for
half.
me, it's the story. Maybe again, I'm blaming a little bit the script. It just felt like the script was slightly unimaginative, given that the story itself, it is a very plain story. I felt like you could have taken it in more interesting directions or deepened the characters a little more.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the cinematography was great. The costumes were great. The set design were great. The music was pretty good.
Yeah, I like the music.
Bill Skarsgård, Nicholas Hoult, and Lily Rose Depp were all great. Willem Dafoe was great.
Oh yeah, Willem Dafoe. That was supposed to be in my likes as well. He's amazing, and he has one of the most like banger lines of the entire movie.
Yeah.
Our entire theater laughed.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe is there to just deliver great lines. That's his entire job in the movie, and it's great.
He's honestly the best part of the second half of the movie.
I agree.
The movie in the first half, like we said, is very like scary, heavy. You feel very afraid of the Count Orlok / Nosferatu character. And then in the second half, where again I didn't have that same level of like, oh my god, this guy is undefeatable, Willem Dafoe really like brought in some comedic relief too for some of the very like slow parts of the movie.
You know why I think the first half of the movie does such a good job of representing that evilness that then the second half of the movie just doesn't? Is that for the first half of the movie, of course, you don't really see the vampire, but you see what everyone else thinks of him in this town where he lives.
Yeah,
as
true.
Nicholas Hoult is traveling to the castle, everyone that lives in the town, you can clearly see they're terrified of whatever's in the castle.
And they're like warning him not to go.
Yeah, I think that sets the scene much better than then after you see the vampire, which is still scary. His presence is no longer as scary as it should be, in my opinion.
Something else that I wanted to talk about that I don't know if you were thinking of as well. I didn't know the story of Nosferatu necessarily, or just like the way that vampires were conceived of 100 years ago or whenever, and how they're so different from like our modern idea of vampires.
Yeah.
There were moments in the movie that I kept expecting other things to happen because it's how normal vampire movies go. And this is a very not normal vampire movie by today's standards. It goes back to like the core legend of vampires, which is very different, I guess.
I remember thinking there's a ton of mirrors in the movie.
Yeah.
And I kept expecting people to not appear in the mirror.
Yes, and they were always in the freaking mirrors. But they're like, there's so many mirrors in the movie, it almost feels like they're trying to
agreed.
make you think that that's going to happen and it doesn't.
So what's your final rating?
I still give it like an 8 out of 10 because I love this genre. I feel like I would give it an even higher rating if it was like October, just because the vibe of the movie is so spooky and perfect for like cold October night. Amazing acting, amazing costumes. That's my rating. 8 out of 10.
I think I'll give it a 7 out of 10. If the story again, or this feeling of dread, was better executed, I would go way higher. But for me, it's a solid 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I would watch it again.
Yeah,
like around Halloween for sure. This was our first YouTube video, so please like and subscribe for more movie reviews. We watch so many movies and we talk about them anyway, so now we've decided to film it and put it on the internet.
And we just told you what we felt about Nosferatu, but please let us know what Nosferatu you thought about the movie in the comments.
Bye!